Today, I'm going to go over runs that need to be studied, including Zion Williamson, McClung, Julian Newman, Jelly Fam, and more. Back in 2012, Isaiah Jelly Fam Washington and Jaquay James started Jelly Fam. They would go on to add Jordan Jelly Walker, Javon JQ Quinterly, and Big Jelly Naz Reid. These guys put together arguably the biggest basketball movement ever in high school basketball. The Harlem, New York crew called themselves Jelly Fam. The movement became popular in 2016. For the ones that don't know, Jelly Fam brought the finger roll back, but you had to add some swag to it. So although it started with those 5, in order to become Jelly Fam, you had to do 3 jellies on somebody in one game. Every time we went to an event for the next 3 or 4 years, you have people trying to jelly. Sometimes jelly lays can go wrong and you get your lay stuffed. The Jelly Fam movement got to the biggest brand in the sport, the NBA, pretty quick. Nowadays, Jelly Fam lives on. They have a team in the Overtime Elite League, and of course, they featured one of New York's great point guards, Ian Jackson. Isaiah Washington is having a successful pro career in Germany. Jaquay James is playing in the TBL. Javon Quinterly just finished at Memphis. Jelly Walker has been a phenomenal hooper in the NBA G League and has a real shot at getting called up to the NBA. And Big Jelly Naz Reid is the 6th man for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So Jam Fam was another basketball movement that was a spin-off of Jelly Fam. Zion Williamson, Nasir Little, Cole Anthony, Romeo Langford, and Jalen LeCue started this one. It didn't gain the same type of traction that Jelly Fam did, but those boys went on to do big things. Unicorn Fam was the most recent movement. Jalen Green said, in order to be Unicorn Fam, you can't just play one position. You have to be positionless. Jalen Green, Jalen Suggs, RJ Hampton, James Wiseman, Vernon Carey, and Zion Harmon were all part of this family. Rod Wave Elite and Drifty Elite are still in their run, but I'll make a video on them another time. Who's got next? McClung first dunked when he was a sophomore in high school, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. He ended up becoming one of the nation's most exciting players. He was really an elite scorer, but that often gets overlooked because his dunks are just that ridiculous. As a junior, he scored a career-high 64 points, and he finished his junior season averaging 29 points, 5.5 assists, and 3 steals per game. His senior year was when he was really all over social media. His games would be packed, and he would put on a show. McClung broke tons of records, including Allen Iverson's single-season scoring record in Virginia. He also broke JJ Redick's championship scoring record with 47 points. He went on to Georgetown and then to Texas Tech before going to the NBA. McClung stands at just 6'2", but had a measured vertical leap of 43.5 inches at the NBA G League Combine. That's among top 10 in draft combine history, including the NBA. Crazy thing is, he measured a 48-inch vertical unofficially, and Mac has made a name for himself in the NBA dunk contest, as I'm sure you've heard. Julian Newman was one of the biggest basketball stars in the last decade. He was labeled the child prodigy when he was just 10 years old. He played middle school ball when he was in 5th grade, but after scoring 91 points, they moved him to varsity. He played for Downey Christian, and through his first 3 starts, he averaged 12 points, 11 assists, and 4.3 steals a game. My guy Bryce from Elite Mixtape started covering him and blew him up. Shortly after, Newman was making TV appearances on Ellen, Steve Harvey, and other programs. But by the time he was in 7th grade, he became the youngest player ever to record 1,000 points in varsity basketball. Elite Mixtapes filmed him versus Kyrie Walker, a matchup that got over 13 million views on YouTube. Fast forward to his sophomore year of high school, he had accrued over 3,800 points, breaking the Florida record for scoring. For his senior season, he transferred to Prodigy Prep, a new school based in Orlando created by his dad. Overtime started a show called Meet the Newmans that followed him and his sister Jaden. After high school, his fall from grace happened quite quickly. I'm really not sure where the hate began, but people started leaving nasty comments and really hated on the child star. But he's still out there collecting bags. He's been playing in various pro-am since, and he has tried to play professional in Puerto Rico. Cooper Flagg has been labeled the biggest prospect since LeBron James, and even called the next Larry Bird, but not because of his skin color. The 6'9" forward put the NBA on notice that he's going to be him. Cooper was born in Newport, Maine, and to give you a quick background, it's a town of 3,200 people. Somehow they produced the coldest kid in high school right now. His first Division I offer came in 8th grade. His freshman year, he became the first freshman to be named Maine Gatorade Player of the Year, averaging 20 points and 10 rebounds. He won the state championship there and decided he should transfer to Mount Verde Academy. Flagg averaged 9.8 points and 5.2 rebounds in his first year at Mount Verde. I know these numbers seem low, but you have to realize most of their games are blowouts. After the season, he went on to play for Maine United on the EYBL circuit. I just want to point out, you have to be very elite to have an EYBL team built around you. Only a handful of teams have been built for one player. He led a team with his twin brother and boys from Maine to the most prestigious championship in travel basketball at the EYBL Peach Jam. Although they lost to the Boozer Twins, his run at Peach Jam was historic. He averaged 25 points, 13 rebounds, and most impressively, almost 7 blocks per game. The consensus number 1 in all of high school basketball also has impressive Olympic accolades. He was named the 2022 USA Basketball Male Athlete of the Year for his performance in the Under-17 World Cup, and is the youngest player to win the award. His Mount Verde team is considered one of the best of all time after going undefeated and winning the national championship. The scariest thing is that Cooper has accomplished all this before turning 18. Trevon Duval was the number 1 point guard in the 2017 class. He was ranked ahead of NBA guys like SGA and Trae Young. A lot of people didn't know he was doing so with being partially blind in one eye. According to his pops, there was no name for the eye condition. Trevon was fit for prescription glasses as a child, but when he stopped wearing them, the vision in his left eye deteriorated and he began relying on the other eye. At Duke, they did a lot of tests and found a way to improve the vision in the eye. He ended up averaging 10.3 points, 5.6 assists, and 2 rebounds. Imagine what he could do with both eyes. He was the first one and done from Duke to go undrafted. They must have been apprehensive because of the eye history. However, he has found a spot overseas in Europe where he is thriving. Mikey Williams needs no introduction, but he got his start playing on Bronny James' AAU team North Coast Blue Chips. People were there to watch LeGoat James coach his son, but quickly found out Mikey was the best 14-year-old in the country. Mikey's fame continued to grow throughout high school. He had some crazy games, including a 77-point game as a freshman in high school. That season, he averaged 30 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. By the end of his freshman year, he had almost 2 million followers on Instagram. After that freshman year, he moved around to different schools, but finished his career where it all started in San Diego at San Ysidro. During his senior year, Mikey Williams signed a multi-year deal with Puma, making him the first American high school basketball player to get a sneaker deal. After high school, Mikey went to Memphis, but is now playing at UCF with his high school teammate, JJ Taylor. Hansel Enmanuel captured the hearts of the masses when he came to the US in 2021. At just 6 years old, Hansel lost his arm to an accident when he was back in his home country of Dominican Republic. When Hansel got to America, he proved people wrong every court he stepped on. They thought he couldn't hoop with one arm, but most of the time, he was the best player on the court. People would pile in for every game, and he had the crowds jumping. His senior year, he averaged 26 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3.4 blocks per game. He even received Division I offers. Nowadays, he's at Austin Peay, and he's gearing up for his junior season. The amount of attention Emoni Bates got before turning 16 was actually crazy. Emoni was born in Michigan and raised in Ypsilanti. He was on a lot of people's radars in just 6th grade. He was the #1 ranked player in 7th grade. And by 9th grade, he was labeled the best prospect since LeBron James by 24/7 Sports, after averaging 28.5 points and 10 rebounds per game. Entering his sophomore season, Bates became the youngest player to ever be featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated. As a sophomore, he averaged 32 points and 9 rebounds, becoming the first sophomore to ever win Gatorade National Player of the Year. His junior season, he transferred to Ypsi Prep Academy, a prep school his father started. He was one of 5 finalists for the Naismith Player of the Year and reclassed up to be in the 2021 class to bypass his senior year of high school. He finished high school #3 in ESPN rankings behind Chet Holmgren and Jaden Hardy. Originally, he committed to Michigan State, but then changed his mind to play with Jalen Duren at Memphis. At just 17 years old, he entered his freshman season as the youngest player in college basketball. He had a few struggles at Memphis and transferred to Eastern Michigan for his sophomore year. In 30 games, he averaged 19.2 points and 5.8 rebounds. He put his name in the 2023 NBA draft, and he was selected 49th overall by the Cleveland Cavaliers. In his first year, he played for the Cleveland Charge G League team, where he averaged 24.8 points and 5 rebounds. Remember, Emoni Bates is only 20 years old. He still has plenty of time to develop in the NBA. At Chino Hills High School, Lonzo, LiAngelo, and LaMelo Ball were the biggest thing in basketball in the 2015-2016 season, at least according to their dad, LeVar. For those who don't know, Lonzo was the oldest and #1 ranked point guard in 2016, ahead of De'Aaron Fox. The middle child was LiAngelo Ball, who was unranked but was Chino Hills' leading scorer with 27.4 points. LaMelo Ball was a freshman on this team, but he still averaged a respectable 16 points a game. They ended up going undefeated 35-0 and are often regarded as the best high school team of the last 25 years. Their exciting style of play kept their games packed. They had a popular show on Facebook called Ball in the Family, and it gave us a better insight of what they were like off the court. Nowadays, Lonzo just re-signed to the Bulls. Jello is a family man, and LaMelo is one of the most promising young guards in the NBA for the Charlotte Hornets. Zion Williamson is one of the most freakish athletes we have ever seen. He was always a great player, but between 8th and 9th grade, he grew 6 inches. As a freshman, he averaged 24.4 points, 9.4 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 3.3 steals, and 3 blocks, earning All-State and All-Region honors. He continued to grow, and by his sophomore year, he was 6'6". Williamson averaged 28 points, 10.4 rebounds, almost 4 blocks, and a state championship. But believe it or not, he still wasn't on anybody's radar until the summer before his junior year. His junior year is when he went insanely viral. Zion averaged 37 points, 13 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 2.5 steals per game. Y'all remember the Zion era and Drake rocking his jersey? In his senior season, his games were a zoo. Everyone wanted to get a glimpse of one of his signature dunks. He led Spartanburg Day School to 3 straight state championships. He ended his high school career ranked #2 in ESPN's 2018 class. He committed to Duke, and by the time he was a Blue Devil, he was 6'7", 285 pounds. When he was at Duke, he was just the 21st player since 1982 to sweep 6 major National Player of the Year awards. He went on to be drafted by the Pelicans, where he is now. If he can stay on the court, it's going to be scary. He's only 23. Thon Maker was a 7-foot 8th grader who left South Sudan in search of a better life. What he found when he got to America was that no one was even coming close to his skill at his size. Since Thon grew up playing soccer, his footwork and court vision were better than everyone else's by a landslide. Video companies like City League Hoops caught on to him quick and realized his future was bright. We made it a goal to get footage on him as quick as we could. We ended up filming him at the John Lucas camp in 2014 and followed him through the rest of his high school career. During his freshman and sophomore years playing for Carlisle's varsity team in Virginia, Maker averaged 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 4.5 blocks over a total of 53 games. He earned 2014 Gatorade Basketball Player of the Year in Virginia after leading Carlisle to a state championship. His junior year, he transferred to Orangeville Prep, a team in Canada where he dominated for 2 years. He played alongside Jamal Murray, and they were a crazy 1-2 punch. Somehow, he convinced the NBA that he graduated a year early in 2015, so he was able to be drafted in the 2016 NBA draft. He had a 5-year stint in the NBA before finding his home in Beirut. Jabari Parker is arguably the most decorated basketball player to ever come out of Chicago. He attended the prestigious Simeon High School, the same school that Derrick Rose attended. Jabari got going quick his freshman year. He was the first freshman to start in Simeon history. He averaged 19 points and 5 rebounds and won the first of 4 state championships. He earned ESPN High School 2010 Freshman of the Year. Entering his senior year, he was the consensus #1 in the 2013 class, and he finished his high school career with 2 gold medals and 4 state championships. Jabari committed to Duke, where he played 1 season for the Blue Devils, averaging 19 points and 8.7 rebounds. Jabari was selected 2nd overall to the Milwaukee Bucks, but his NBA career was hampered by injuries, and now he's playing for FC Barcelona. If you want me to go into the stories of 7th Woods, Noah Farrakhan, and more, comment below. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.